God of War goes to Sparta. God mode difficulty, very hard mode. So up ahead, we're going to be fighting some more Tritons. These guys seem to be overused in this game. There's not a good diversity of enemies in this game, but that doesn't mean it's not still a good game. It has a lot of where it does have diversity is the combat system. With the addition of the R1 button when you're using the flame attack of your which is essentially like an item, using the item meter like in God of War when we were using the bow. Now it's like an item meter when you're using the flame attack. Once we get it, so when you're doing that Hyperion charge, you're pressing L1 and O to charge at the enemy and then slam them to the ground. You're vulnerable of getting hit when you're pressing the square button. Like right now when I'm hitting the square button. Actually, I wasn't doing it there, but you're vulnerable. You can get attacked. You can get interrupted when you're on the ground with the guy and punching him in the face. To get around that, if you think you're going to get attacked when you're in this animation right there, hit the O button and you'll fling him at another target. So we're coming up on one of the Minotaurs over here for the first time, and these guys are really huge. What I like about the Minotaurs is that when they ram you, you don't get dealt any damage so long as you hit the correct QuickTime button. One issue that is probably, I think, the worst issue in this game is engaging in QuickTime buttons. Not this one. This is a fair one. Engaging in the QuickTime buttons and winning the QuickTime button event, but still taking damage. It's really shitty. It's the worst aspect. And by the way, once you get over into the upper right quadrant, you're always going to get this little interaction with the Scylla monster. It's an issue with taking damage for succeeding for winning a QuickTime button event doesn't make any sense to me, and it occurs on boss battles. It occurs in regular battles. It should not be that way. So always do the QuickTime buttons though, and finishing moves on these creatures to get the most bonus points. I'll be showing you the preferred order of upgrading items. So if you, because the first time I ever went through this game, I really struggled because I was upgrading the wrong things. So if you are struggling and if you think you might struggle on a difficulty mode such as this, check out my guide. So you can't move faster on these ledges by pressing over and X like you can in God of War 3. But what they did change in this from Chains of Olympus is that they expedited how you slide down scalable objects and ladders by pressing the L1 button. That was not in Chains of Olympus. Another great thing they did in this game, where before we're in Chains of Olympus, they have the QuickTime buttons in the very middle of the screen for every button, no matter what button it is. In this game, all the QuickTime buttons are on the top, left, bottom, and right, like the top, bottom, left, and right side of the screens, and it corresponds to like the control of the buttons on the controller. So kind of if you tilted the controller, they did that in God of War 3, and it works really well. So you're kind of still looking in the center of the screen, but like out of the corner of your eye, you could just kind of press the button really quickly. And I still hate the fact that I can't activate the godly possession that I found on hard when I did my hard mode run to complete the context-sensitive QuickTime events, because if I could have, I would have just activated that, but apparently you can't activate it in God mode. I thought it was just an issue of it just disabling the trophies or something, because I've already got every single trophy for this game, and I was going to just activate that godly possession. So a lot of the times you're going to see me move around the environment, even though there's nothing over into the little corners. But I'm a very anal, retentive person. I'm a very compulsive person. I need to look in every little space. So a lot of times I can't help it that I'm looking in places that I know does not contain anything. But when I do try to resist the temptation as much as I can to speed up the guide. So we have some guys throwing these knives these boomerang knife things at us, And even though we can't parry, you can parry these projectiles. I'm not the best, admittedly, I'm not the best at parrying projectiles, so that's why, unless I have to, I do it. But otherwise, I charge these guys and just take them out. When you're launching them up into the air, but not yourself, you can keep pressing the circle button to keep moving them around. It's a great move to do. I will be going over, once I unlock combos and stuff, I'll be going over into some of the more intricacies of the button mechanics and the combinations of how to do combos and buttons and skills. So jump up here. So here's an area where I resisted the temptation to go down because I knew there was no box down on that platform. So there is one of these larger chests over here to grab. These are normally kind of hard to see because they purposely blend them into the environment and they don't stick out. But those are the more lucrative boxes that give you health upgrades, item and magic upgrades. So you're going to be interrupted over here while you're trying to move this block with some more of these enemies. Again, these enemies can be grabbed, and it's actually pretty remarkable how many enemies in this game can simply be grabbed. It's crazy. Like I said in the first video, I've never encountered a God of War game where so many enemies can simply be grabbed. So anyway, push this block over here to the pressure switch, and then also kind of strangely, you can't charge a kick, like charge up and then kick like a block like you can in every other God of War game. They didn't program the game to do that. So you do drag when you are dragging objects around. You do drag it quickly, so that's kind of the compensation for not being able to kick objects around. But this isn't a very most of the areas aren't that spacious, so kicking stuff and to speed up the process really wouldn't be much of a big difference. We have some more tritons over here. Remember to try to smash all the pottery and the boards and everything that's destructible to get more orbs in this game. It was my experience on hard mode when I unlocked this difficulty mode quite a while ago, was that I could not upgrade every single weapon, and that's normally how it is on the harder difficulty. So you really have to commit yourself to what, and early on decide what you want to upgrade. The things that I normally don't upgrade are that icicle magic that you get later on in the game, and then the Scourge of Urnas. I normally don't upgrade those. So the things I really upgrade, obviously, are the blades, that electric magic with the eyeball, and obviously the flame. I upgrade that, and very important in this mode, you need to upgrade the arms of the arms of Sparta, the spear and the shield. That particular weapon set, extremely important, because there are some very cheap enemies towards the end of the game that can be easily dealt with the Spartan arms, the spear. So that was a mistake I made the first time I played, but which I never repeated again. So this is going to be the conclusion of the video, and I cut out all the cutscenes, but any transitional scene like this that's not skippable, I just leave in for the sake of leaving it in. But do remember that there is a treasure box over to the left once Guy is done speaking, and then just go over to the right and hit the save point. I want to thank everybody for tuning into my guide. I really appreciate it. This is going to be a quick endeavor, but it's going to be a very thorough endeavor in which I get every treasure box, and I leave no stone unturned. And so you're definitely in the right hands, and you don't need to go in the middle to interact with that thing unless you want to read what it is.